All right, so let's talk about debt because I don't think anyone takes this debt problem seriously enough. The combined national debt of the US, the UK, the EU, and Japan now sits at roughly $70 trillion. But the worst part is that number is costing you and I thousands of dollars every year because it's devalued the money in our bank accounts by 30% or so for the last 15 years. And what should scare you really is that this number is trending up. It's getting worse every year and it's accelerating, which is obviously not good. Especially when you consider that the new Federal Reserve Chairman, 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁 said, and I quote, "We need a new Treasury Fed Accord like we did in 1951, because that is one of the most frightening and frankly insane things I've heard any Fed chairman say publicly. Because, even if you're not in the US, this hits all of us, and it's a very serious situation. And it all starts with tax. I mean, we all hate tax. They charge us too much tax, but there's a hidden tax that nobody talks about, and most people don't even realize they pay. That tax is inflation. Inflation is the most insidious tax we pay, and it's purely because the countries we live in cannot control their spending. They rack up massive amounts of debts, then they charge us inflation to cover it. And the US is paying, by the way, this is a crazy number, the US is paying over $1 trillion a year in interest on its debt alone. 1 trillion. That is more than the US spends on defense, and it's roughly 19 cents for every tax dollar that an American pays. That just goes towards paying off the debt. In the UK, that figure is closer to 110 billion pounds. In Germany and the rest of the EU, it's comparable in scale. It's a few hundred billion euros. In Japan, the interest bill, that's a different monster, really. In Japan, the interest rates, the interest bill is the foundation on which the entire fiscal system for that country is built on. So to understand where this ends, we need to look at the last time a seriously developed country nearly defaulted. And it wasn't really that long ago. It was only 50 years ago. I mean, kind of long. But anyway, October 1976, Britain was a major industrial economy in serious way. It was still a first world... It's still a first world country now. It was still a major power is what I was trying to say. But I was close, really, because barely hanging on. Anyway, so it was still a major power. The pound had collapsed against the dollar across that year. And the country was within weeks of being unable to pay its bills. The Chancellor of the Exchequer at the time, Denis Healey, he was on his way to an airport for an international conference. But this situation got so serious that he had to turn around while he was on his way, drive back to Downing Street, and he had to make a phone call. And this was one of the most embarrassing phone calls ever made by a political figure. He had to make a phone call and he had to borrow nearly $4 billion from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. It was the largest loan the IMF had ever made, and he needed that loan to save the UK. It was about to default. Now, $4 billion in 76 was a lot of money. These days, it's not. But it saved the country just by the skin of its teeth. And every major government in the developed world watched this happen, and they agreed that they would never let it happen to them. And that's why we're in the situation we are now. It's all thanks to the UK. By the way, guys, if you want to stay updated with what's happening on the markets and my personal strategies, make sure you subscribe to my free newsletter. Like I said, it's free. I publish a report on everything you need to know about the markets every single morning. Basically, I read 20 to 30 articles. I summarize them so you don't have to. There's a link below.